Right now, there's a voice reading these words in your head. It's been there your entire life, commenting on everything, judging every action, narrating each moment. When you wake up, it's already talking. I'm tired. I don't want to go to work. What if today goes wrong? When you meet someone, it evaluates. They don't like me. I said something stupid. I should have kept quiet. This voice has an opinion about everything. You've lived with it for so long that you believe this voice is you. But what if that voice is no more you than the sound of rain on your window? What if your entire sense of self is built on a fundamental case of mistaken identity? René Descartes, sitting alone in a heated room in 1619, attempted to doubt everything. He doubted his senses, his memories, even mathematical truths. He arrived at his famous conclusion, cogito ergo sum, I think therefore I am. But Descartes made a subtle error. He proved that thinking was happening. He did not prove that he was the thinker. The presence of thoughts doesn't mean you are your thoughts. The Buddha understood this 2,500 years ago. He taught anatta, the doctrine of no self. What you call I is not a permanent entity, but a process, a stream of changing phenomena. The voice you think is you is simply one more phenomenon appearing in consciousness. This isn't abstract philosophy. The moment you recognize that the voice in your head is not you, everything changes. Your anxiety loses its power. Your self-criticism becomes observable rather than absolute. Over the next 12 minutes, we're going to dismantle the illusion that has controlled your entire life. This isn't self-help. This is ontology, the study of what you actually are beneath the noise. Follow the white rabbit. The narrator is not the author. The voice in your head functions as a narrator describing what's happening, predicting what might happen, judging what has happened. But a narrator is not the same as an author. The narrator reads the story. The author writes it. You've been confusing the two your entire life. David Hume tried to locate the self by examining his own consciousness. He wrote, "When I enter most intimately into what I call myself, I always stumble on some particular perception. I never can catch myself without a perception, and never can observe anything but the perception." When Hume looked for the I, all he found were thoughts, sensations, emotions passing through awareness. But he could never find the thing supposedly having these experiences. The self is not a thing, but a bundle of perceptions with no permanent core. The voice creates the illusion of continuity. It stitches together disparate moments into a narrative called my life with a protagonist called me. But this is a story, not a fact. In the winter of 170 AD, Marcus Aurelius sat in a military tent on the frozen banks of the Danube. The Emperor of Rome was fighting yet another Germanic invasion. His son was a disappointment, his health was failing, his empire was crumbling. And inside his head, the voice was relentless. We know this because Marcus wrote his private journals, the Meditations. In those pages, we see a man doing battle not with barbarians, but with his own mind. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This wasn't Marcus speaking to others. This was Marcus reminding himself that the catastrophic thoughts swirling through his consciousness were not reality. Marcus developed a practice. When the voice would catastrophize, he would create distance. He called it the view from above. He would imagine himself rising up, seeing his problems from the perspective of the cosmos. From that height, the voice revealed itself as absurdly small. The emperor discovered what mystics have always known. You cannot stop the voice, but you can stop identifying with it. Marcus wasn't trying to silence his thoughts. He was recognizing them as mental weather, clouds passing through the sky of consciousness. The real Marcus was not located in the narrative. He was the space in which the narrative appeared. Think about the last time you were consumed by worry, your mind spinning in loops, generating worst-case scenarios. That was the voice running its evolutionary program. Predict threats, avoid danger. But the voice cannot distinguish between actual threats and imagined ones. It treats social embarrassment like physical danger. And because you've identified with the voice, you experience its panic as your panic. Your brain generates between 6,000 and 60,000 thoughts per day. Most are repetitive, many are negative. The voice isn't some wise inner guide. It's ancient survival software running in a modern world. Social media has weaponized the voice. Every notification triggers it. They're more successful. I'm wasting my life. I need to do more. The voice narrates your social media experience, and because you think the voice is you, you believe its interpretations are truth. For the next 24 hours, every time you notice a thought that generates emotion, anxiety, anger, excitement, mentally label it. That's the voice. Not to dismiss it, but to create space. You are not your anxiety. You are the awareness that notices anxiety. You are the space, not the noise. If you're not the voice, then what are you? You are the awareness in which the voice appears. You are the screen on which the movie plays, not the characters in the film. You are the space, not the noise. The Buddha called this pure consciousness, awareness without content. Descartes glimpsed it, but couldn't let go of, I think. What he should have said was, awareness is occurring, and within awareness, thinking is appearing. This distinction is the difference between prison and freedom. Blaise Pascal wrote, all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. Pascal understood that when you remove all external distraction, you're left alone with the voice. And for most people, this is unbearable. The voice fills silence with noise because silence reveals something the ego cannot tolerate, that the voice is not in control. Pascal experienced this directly. After a mystical experience in 1654, he wrote his memorial, a document he sewed into his coat and carried until death. Fire, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, God of Jacob, certitude, feeling, joy, peace. What Pascal encountered was the space beyond the voice, not the God of theological argument, but the direct experience of awareness itself, vast, silent, complete. Marcus Aurelius knew this from a different angle. Ruling the largest empire in the world, his mind generated endless concerns: military strategy, political intrigue, economic crises, family drama. But in his meditations, he wrote, confine yourself to the present. Not because the past and future don't matter, but because the voice lives in past and future. The voice cannot exist fully in the present moment. When you're completely absorbed in an activity, the voice goes quiet. Athletes call it the zone, artists call it inspiration. But it's the same phenomenon, the temporary dissolution of the narrator, leaving only pure awareness. Marcus discovered he could access this even amid chaos. Not by forcing the voice to stop, but by shifting attention from the content of consciousness to consciousness itself. He wrote, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. You experience this distinction every day. When you're lost in thought, you are the character in the story. But occasionally, you have moments of spontaneous presence. You're walking and suddenly notice the light. You're listening to music and the voice goes quiet. In those moments, your attention shifted from the noise to the space holding the noise. And you touched what you actually are. Throughout your day, pause and ask, am I in the story or watching the story? This question creates immediate distance. Even asking it proves you're not the voice, because the voice cannot observe itself. So far, you've learned two transformative truths. The voice is not you, it's a narrator. And what you actually are is the space of awareness in which the voice appears. If this content is resonating with you, subscribe to White Rabbit. Follow the White Rabbit as a commitment to wake up. Your subscription fuels our will to keep creating this content. The first two laws showed you what you're not. But the question remains, in the silence beneath the noise. What are you? Silence reveals what the voice was hiding. The voice is afraid of silence. Because in silence, the voice reveals itself as empty noise, and something else emerges, something vast and unnameable. Søren Kierkegaard wrote, the present state of the world is diseased. If I were a doctor, I should reply, create silence. But most people would rather endure any discomfort than create genuine silence, because silence strips away the voice's protection. In silence, you meet yourself without the narrator's commentary. The Buddha built his practice around this. Meditation is about sitting still, long enough for the voice to exhaust itself, revealing the awareness that was always there, always silent, always free. In 1208, Christian monks established the Carthusian order under a vow of strict silence. For hours each day they lived in solitary cells with no books, no conversation, no distraction. In the first weeks, the voice became deafening. Without stimulation, it filled silence with noise, memories, plans, fantasies, fears. Many monks left, unable to face what silence revealed. But those who remained reported something extraordinary. After weeks, the voice began to lose its urgency. Thoughts still arose, but no longer demanded response. The monks could observe their minds the way they might observe weather, present but impersonal. Beneath the voice, they found what they called divine silence. Not absence of sound, but a presence so complete it contained all sound without being disturbed by it. They described it as peace beyond understanding, because the voice cannot grasp what lies beneath it. You're afraid of silence. The moment you're alone, what do you reach for? Phone, music, podcast, anything to avoid the space where the voice might quiet. Modern civilization is designed to prevent silence. Notifications every few minutes, streaming services with infinite content, social media feeds that never end. We've created a world that treats silence like death, when actually, silence is where real life can be experienced directly. The voice tells you silence is boring, unproductive, dangerous. If I stop planning, catastrophe will strike. If I stop thinking, I'll cease to exist. But this is the voice's greatest lie. You don't cease to exist when thinking stops. You become more real. The character fades, and what you actually are steps forward. Set aside 1 hour where you do nothing. No phone, no music, no reading. Just sit. The voice will panic. Let it. After 20 minutes, the desperation quiets. After 40, something else emerges. Always, the recognition that you are what remains when the voice runs out of things to say. The voice in your head is not you. It never was. For your entire life, you've been hypnotized by the narrator. You've suffered because the voice suffers, celebrated because the voice celebrates, identified so completely with the commentary that you forgot there's someone listening. But now you know. You are not the voice. You are the awareness in which the voice appears. You are the space that holds all thoughts without being changed by them. You are not the character in the story. You are the consciousness reading it. This isn't a new achievement. You've always been this. The voice just convinced you otherwise. But you have something now, recognition. The ability to notice when you've been pulled into identification, and the practice to return to what you are. Marcus Aurelius, governing an empire from that space of awareness, found peace in chaos. Pascal, encountering the silence beyond the voice, found fire and certitude and joy. The monks found the divine not through the voice's prayers, but through the silence. And you can find it too, not by achieving something, but by recognizing what you've always been beneath the noise. The voice will never fully stop. You don't need it to. You just need to stop believing you are it. Thank you for following the White Rabbit. If this shifted something in you, share it. I've prepared a special playlist to continue this journey. The voice in your head is not you, but the awareness reading these words, the silent presence that's been here all along, that's who you actually are. Welcome home.